everybody, welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit that 1978 musical, Grease, starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. So grab your yearbook and let's reminisce.
Hey everyone, welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian, and we're talking today about Grease. We are still social distancing. We're sitting in Christina's home, and she has this really amazing rectangular room, so I said this before, I would say we're about a good 7-8 feet
I think
apart,
so, yeah.
and we have the microphone right in the middle, so it might sound like we're projecting our voice, but this is
just
live.
Going back to our drama days, projecting our voices.
So, Grease, 1978, Christina, then. When was the first time you saw this movie?
Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure I saw it in the movie theaters. I was 11 years old. It was like prime time, for Grease. I remember it coming out. I remember seeing it around the same time as I saw Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Wow.
With the Bee Gees. And I feel like Saturday Night Fever was around that time too. Like I kind of equate all three of those together because I was like, like I'm getting Dynamite magazine and it's like it's those three movies that were in it. So, but I remember seeing it and, really loving it. I saw it with my sisters. Again, it was like all over the place. It was in all the magazines, and that's kind of how you got all of your information those days. I was trying to explain that to Emily the other day. It was kind of funny because she was asking if I was ever obsessed with any like TV people or, characters or anything or actors. And I'm like, well, I mean, I liked them, but it was so different. Like, we didn't get the same amount of information. So, the information that I got was from Dynamite magazine.
Yeah.
And that was all about Grease back in 78. So, I really liked it, the quizzes. And
So, wait. Because any faithful listener is probably wondering, you mentioned Boy in the Plastic Bubble recently. John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Grease, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Would you say you are a John Travolta fan?
I think I probably had a crush on him, but not like. The people I had crushes on were like Starsky.
I love your face right now. You actually look flustered. I think you you don't know how to. Like,
it's 1,000 degrees in this room. No, I'm trying to think of my crushes, like Leif Garrett. Remember Leif Garrett?
Of course.
And Sean, not Sean Cassidy, but David Cassidy I liked, and Starsky. I was like, kind of guy. But I mean, I liked John Travolta, but I don't think I ever had like a crush on him. I might have been a little too young to have like those feelings for him back then. Yeah. Because he was like, like 11. I mean, it was sort of the beginning of that stuff, but.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was an inappropriate question.
No, that's totally fine. Did you have a crush on him when you were 6?
No. In fact, if I think about like Welcome Back, Kotter with John Travolta.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think I was more. So there was who was the?
That was Horshack.
There's Epstein.
Epstein.
I think Epstein. I remember thinking Epstein was cute.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
And then the Washington. I liked Washington
too.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I thought Epstein was cute. To me.
I might have had more.
And by the way, I was probably like 6 years old.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What year was Welcome Back, Kotter?
Well, but wasn't that? I think that was around. I think that was probably. I'm gonna guess 77.
About the same.
I'm gonna guess 76, 77.
I was gonna say about 75, but you're probably right. Let's see. 75.
Nice.
Woohoo!
So I was 3.
So it was before
having a crush.
You were 3. Oh my god.
No, I think
it had 4 seasons, so...
Yeah, I think I probably want... Oh, and by the way, really quick, A Doesn't F had 5 seasons. I kept saying 4 in that episode, and I apologize to everyone. But,
you got a lot of hate mail about that.
But Welcome Back, Kotter. I think it was just shown on Channel 56 for so many years after.
Totally.
And, like, I feel like... Kotter. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I watched a lot of Welcome Back, Kotter, but it was more like after school.
Yeah, the Channel 56, Boston, yeah.
So...
But, I mean, John Travolta was so good in Welcome Back, Kotter.
Because it's interesting. Yeah, he really was. But what was funny when you were saying that, Welcome Back Kotter, I'm like, wait, I think I did have more of a crush on him then. And I'm like, wait, if it was 75. But it makes more sense because it was, I'm going to school and coming back, watching it after school and stuff. So I want to revisit that now.
Yeah, maybe we should. So Grease 78. So that was your taking you, but the specific movie itself, because you said you buddied up with Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The movie itself, I liked. I really liked it. I mean, what was not to like when you're 11 years old and all those fun songs and the summer nights, and I just feel like. It was kind of like the popular thing to like, so all your friends liked it and things like that. So I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it back then, and to the point where it just never really left me. It was one of those things where I had like the album.
Oh yeah,
and then
I had the album
and then I think I even asked for the album again because I was afraid I was going to wear the other one out. And I think that was Xanadu too. I welcome doubles of music things.
I think I had albums of all three of those movies actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I might actually still have them somewhere, like in my father's attic.
But I think it was, I don't know, I'm trying to think of it. It had to have been my introduction, at least cinematically, to Olivia Newton-John. This is her first film, right? Because she asked, it was her third film, but only the first American film, and she actually asked to do a screen test because she was very unsure. But
when you're Olivia Newton-John.
Well, no, you have to do some research, because before I don't want to, but I love Olivia. But I loved it so much so that, when it was starting to hit the cable circuits, then I was a bit older, there was one time I think it was over my Aunt Camille's house. My Aunt Terry was there. And I think my Aunt Terry was babysitting me and my cousin Rob. And at one point I was watching Grease. And Robbie and I had kind of different interests, but I was watching Grease. And apparently I was singing so loud along to Summer Nights that my Aunt Terry came upstairs and she's like, Brian, are you okay? And I'm like, what? She's like, I can hear you louder than the TV. She's like, just turn up the TV and sing, and I was like, and the funny thing is, I didn't even realize I was doing it.
No, you were
I got lost in the moment.
Now, were you singing Olivia Newton-John's part or John Travolta's part?
I was singing both. But you know what else I sang? I sang Grease Lightning all the time.
Oh, Grease Lightning was great.
But now you hear those lyrics and you're like, oh.
I remember.
Pussy Wagon.
Let me tell you, back then, I remember learning about those lyrics because our neighbor PK came over and he was singing them because he was a big singer too. Yeah. And I was like, "What?" And I didn't believe him that that's what it said. Yeah. It was more like the tit lyric. It wasn't the cream lyric because I think I was too young
to even understand
the cream lyric. But the tit, and I'm like, what? No. And then my sister's like, I'm telling Mom that you're singing those lyrics. It was like a thing. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. I don't even know what I was singing. It wasn't like you could even look up the lyrics, right?
I was singing it to relatives, probably at Christmas time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was and surely, because I was 6 or 78, right? So 78. So I was 6 years old. So it's not really knowing. I was going to parochial school then. I sure didn't know what I was saying.
To the nuns.
But yeah, but but I loved it. I always loved it. But before watching it 2 days ago, I hadn't seen it in many years. I think I said this to Carl, and he's like, "No, I think we watched it 5 or 10 years ago at something." Yeah. But I feel like it was a group. I feel like it was maybe a movie in the park or something where you're not really invested. You're drinking.
It's more of a social thing.
It's a social thing. Yeah. So I think I hadn't seen this in a long time. So it was great. It was great opportunity to revisit it. So So you're now immediate reactions.
I will tell you, as soon as I put it on and you hear that, you see that first scene with Danny and Sandy at the beach, and you're like, la, 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 right? Love is the most fun things. It just brought me right back. Mm-hmm. It was just like listening to a favorite song.
Really quick, how did you watch it?
I watched it, what do you mean, how?
DVD? From the library? Okay.
DVD from the library, yeah.
Did you watch the Rockin' Rydell edition? Do you know which edition you? Because
I don't think so.
Really quick, if you have the choice of renting it from your library, and they have the Rockin' Rydell edition, get it. The picture is crystal.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
clear.
no, this was not crystal clear.
Oh my god, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. And that scene you're talking about on the beach, I was like, oh shit! I'm like, this could have been filmed yesterday. It's,
wow.
The quality is really good with that edition.
So yeah, no, it brought me right back as soon as I heard the song, and then of course when they're saying goodbye, and all of a sudden you hear that.
Well, he says it's only the beginning, and then the movie starts.
Right.
Yeah,
I forgot all about like the cartoon beginning, which was one of my favorite things to watch when I was a child. But oh my god, it was so great! Like it just gives you that like warm, fuzzy feeling when you hear that especially that first like it was great. It was really, really great. So I really enjoyed. I enjoyed watching it again. Like it brought me right back. And again, like I hadn't seen it in a while either. Like I've seen it since I was 11, but it had been a long time since I had seen it. And even just sitting down from beginning to end, sitting and watching it, because it feels like it's been on TV or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's been a long time, so it was nice to just sit back and just remember and watch it. And like pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, good.
A little surprising in some parts, but
yeah, I think. So I loved the quality of the DVD that I was watching, and I was completely on board like right away. It was like, oh my god, this movie is so good and just fun, and the cast is invested, and like it's just really, really great. I did think in the very beginning. And I was like, I wonder if Christina will pick up on this. When we reviewed Charlie's Angels, I recited a quote that Jacqueline Smith's character has with a bartender. And he's like, well, I can get you some whatever. And she's like, please, I need that, like the heartbreak of psoriasis. Right? The first 10 minutes of Grease, Sandy says to Frenchie, oh, Frenchie, I'm no stranger to heartbreak. And Frenchie says, "You got psoriasis?" No, clearly, that is a '70s joke.
Yeah,
even though this takes place not in the '70s, but it's like this like the 50s, But I was like, that psoriasis joke.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Because she says,
was that like a common ailment? It must have been.
No, I think it's the tagline of it. I should just probably Google it in the mystery, but like but I think it's the tagline of like heartbreak, the heartbreak of psoriasis. Because she says heartbreak, and she's like, you've got psoriasis, and Jacqueline Smith says, I need that, like the heartbreak of. It's got to be something.
It's got to be
heartbreak
something.
Of psoriasis.
We'll have to quote
I laughed out loud.
That's really, really funny. What was funny about watching this too was just the anticipation of the songs, and like just knowing what was coming up next was really exciting for me. And I watched it with Emily, and she's been better with movies lately. I think because she's getting older or whatever, and she has some favorite actors or whatever. And I made her promise to watch this because I watched something.
And Emily's your daughter, and she's how old?
She's 12. Yeah. And I'm like, this would be a great one for her. So we'll get into more of that later, but it was, I found myself just being like, I'm like, wait, look what's coming up. Like knowing like Summer Nights was starting. I'm like, no, watch what's going to happen. Like I wanted her to see like every moment with me and hearing like the bump, bump, bump. And then like they still talk.
Yeah.
And then like all that. I was like so excited like with the anticipation of what was coming next.
Yeah.
So that was okay.
Did it live up to like your adult standards?
Well, let's see. The adult standards. I mean, I think this was definitely one of those cases where I was way more into like the nostalgia of it.
Yeah.
Than even paying attention to like the cinematography and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I thought they were talented. I mean, for sure. I mean, I felt like they were very talented. But like just like the dialogue itself was a little bit off sometimes. I mean, I feel like you would not be able to make the same movie today because of a lot of the dialogue. There was so much of this like taboo behavior that you would see now with the bullying and just like picking on people and making fun of them and all of that. So many like sexual references and sexual harassment.
Yeah, this is
and things
PG.
like that.
Yeah.
And this was PG. Now, in its defense, it was PG. If it was released post PG-13 era, I think it would be PG-13.
Absolutely,
for sure. So I mean, it was this was when it was you had G, PG, or R, and it was PG. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, what was the original question?
Your adult standards.
My adult standards, as far as a movie goes. I mean, I thought it was good. I guess it did sort of live up to the adult standards. I guess it's hard to separate.
It's so hard to do that.
It's really hard to separate with this particular movie.
It was hard for me too.
It was beloved, and also it's so different because it's a musical.
Yeah.
So I feel like that in itself kind of brings it to a different level, because there is that sort of like, it's a musical, so it's like kind of fun and fantastical.
I do think musicals can go wrong though.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of like the standard I'm putting on it, like the storyline standard is going to be different because it's a musical. Mm-hmm. If it was just that storyline, it might have a different standard for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rather than throwing the songs in there to move it along.
Mm-hmm. I thought that going to like Summer Nights, that number that you were mentioning, is like the standard. Like I'm like really trying to watch the choreography.
Yeah.
And like I love that the little steps on the bleachers.
Oh, the bleachers!
That
That was always a great fun part
and
for me
I love
too.
that. And the lip syncing is really strong with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
Yes.
And I liked a lot of it. Before that number happens, there's really funny little bits of the Pink Ladies, and at one point, Dinah Manoff, I don't know what her name is,
that was,
but she says,
no, it wasn't Frenchie, it wasn't Rizzo, it wasn't Jan.
The other one.
One.
But it's, Maraschino. Her last name's Maraschino, like the cherry, she says. And but she's like, double doo-doo. And one of them says, please, as if like she said this like awful swear. She's like, I dropped one of my stones dropped in my mashed potatoes or whatever.
Oh, right.
Then Sandy's talking, and she's like, I think she says something, and Rizzo says, true love, and he didn't lay a hand on you.
Sounds like a creep.
And one thing that I didn't catch, because there's some things I didn't catch until 2 days ago viewing this. Patty Simcox.
Yeah.
They called her, and I never caught it before. I heard the line, and I'm like, I don't think I just heard what she said. And Rizzo says she's the back seat of Rydell High.
Oh.
And I thought that was strange because she seems like a goody-goody.
She's definitely a goody-goody.
But then there is a scene of Patty Simcox and Danny Zuko at the diner, and she says, and it's very funny, she's like, oh, hi, Danny, what are you doing later? And, like, he just completely ignores her, and she does, like, a beat, and she goes, call me!
Yeah.
So there's kind of, like, the desperate...
It's so interesting.
That's maybe what they mean by the backseat. Like, she's just easy, because she's so desperate.
But she didn't come across as easy at all.
No, she was like very prim and tight.
And I'm wondering if so. And then part of this was you find out that Rizzo and Danny had dated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I wonder if it was one of those things that maybe had more meat to it when they were writing it down. Like, oh yeah, so maybe Rizzo was calling her the backseat of Ridgemont High because Ridgemont High, yeah, Rydell High. Jeez. Sorry, I'm confusing my movies. Maybe she's, feeling that, like, jealousy almost because Danny hooked up with Patty Simcox. I don't know. Maybe there was something else to it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, I mean, she certainly didn't, come off as a slut or anything.
No, I know.
She was more goody two-shoes than anything.
That's what I said. Yeah. I just wrote in one note on the top of my page 2 of my notes is that
I haven't even looked at my notes.
Like this matters. I wrote Stockard Channing is a star. I wrote such presence, such attitude.
Her. Yeah, even from the beginning. I remember loving her, even though she's a jerk.
Yeah,
she just every scene you are drawn to her.
She was 33 when she
33. I looked up the ages. Crazy. Yeah. We'll talk about it now. Yeah. Rizzo was 33.
Yeah.
John Travolta was 23.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John was 29.
Yeah.
And Jeff Conaway was 26.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rizzo playing an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
I mean, she did kind of look old.
Yeah.
They all looked pretty old.
Yeah, and I don't think that... Oh, by the way, the animated sequence in the beginning that you were talking about, that's really not flattering. That caricature of her. I would have been like... That's I remember the boobs part.
Like
Well, they should have just left it at that face. Instead they gave her more, like, definition in her face and made her look old. But, one of the first thoughts of Grease, when they made it from a stage musical to a film, was to do an animated.
Oh, interesting.
Cool. That would have been fucking
That would have been really cool.
They could still do it.
They could do it now easier now.
Audio, yeah. But, anyway, yeah, Stalker Channing, she is so good, and you're right. She does that thing where it's like, she's not necessarily like a good person, but you like her.
Yeah, like, somehow you like her. But what was interesting was Emily... I think that was part of what really turned her off about this movie was, like, people were mean. And Rizzo was mean. If you look at it from the point of view of a child, she wasn't likable. She was just, like, everything out of her mouth was mean. Mm-hmm. And she set up Sandy, and she's kicking them off of the bench, and she's making fun of them, right? Yeah. She's, like, has this whole thing with making fun of her. The first time you ever see her feeling bad about anything like that was when she got busted singing "Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee" by Sandy. Mm-hmm. She's like, "You're making fun of me, Riz?" And she's like, "Oh, some people can't take a joke." It's the first time you ever see any kind of like,
yes,
she's upset, remorse.
Yeah.
But from the eyes of say Emily, she was just like, why are they being so mean? Like, and it's a sign of the times, I think, too, is like you don't see that in movies today. You don't see people being outwardly mean unless they're an absolute villain.
That's right.
You don't really see a good guy being a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Or even, I mean, you don't really see, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure there's something out there that, they're mean, and then they're somewhat likable at the end, but they don't turn into a good guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, Rizzo was that. She didn't turn into a good girl.
No, but she's
likable and she's a little bit easier.
Yeah. There's that scene where in a lot of movies do that where, so Sandy goes up to Riz towards the end, and she's like, she checks in on Riz because she's like, "Are you okay, Rizzo?"
Yeah.
And all this. And she's like, "I know we haven't always gotten along, but I just want to make sure you're doing okay." She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine," whatever. And she kind of shrugs her off, and then Sandy's walking away, and she's like, "Hey." And she's like, "Thanks." Which is like
overused. Thank you.
But I wonder how used it was up to that
point. Yeah.
Because it's like it felt very meaningful.
Yeah.
Like and Sandy smiles, and then she sings her "Worst Things I Could Do."
Oh, the reprise.
Yeah.
Reprise or reprise?
No. It's the.
Am I saying it right? Reprise or reprise?
Well, reprise is when it comes back. Like Sandy has a reprise of "Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee" or whatever, while at the road race.
Yeah.
That "There Were Things I Could Do" isn't a reprise because she just sings it. It's like a one and done.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got completely confused.
Clearly.
But she, let me tell you something. "There Are Worse Things I Can Do." That was one of those songs. You talk about belting out songs when you were young. I sang that song constantly as a child. Loved it. It was like it's a beautiful song.
Yeah, it's a big...
And she really nails it.
Yeah.
She's so talented. I love this woman.
I love her too. Really good movie if you haven't seen it, 6 Degrees of Separation.
Loved her in that. She was so good in that.
She was so good.
Yeah. I've loved her in every single thing I've seen her in.
I'm writing things that just jumped out at me. I wrote Putsy's cute. Isn't he?
He's
the blonde.
I did not find him attractive.
Christina, you're crazy.
I know.
So do you want trivia next? I wrote some trivia.
Sure, okay. Let's throw some trivia in there. Shallow dives with you guys.
I know. So here's the thing. So Grease Lightning, in the musical, it's Kaneki's big song.
Yes.
You know this already.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe the folks at home, if you're listening, Travolta was a huge star when Grease was being made. And he said, "I'd like to sing Grease Lightning," which was not Danny's song to sing.
Right.
And so the director was like, "Yeah, okay." and took it from Jeff Conaway's.
Things might have worked out differently for Jeff.
Really?
If he had that number. I mean, he was pretty... He was pretty... Well, he worked out pretty well for a little while.
So, get this. So then, let's talk about Jeff Conaway. He had a crush on Olivia Newton-John.
Oh.
Until he met Olivia Newton-John's sister.
Shut up.
They got married.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they were married for a while. But apparently on the set of Grease, this is allegedly, from my research, that he hurt himself. And this is adding insult to injury.
Oh, yeah.
He hurt himself doing Grease Lightning when I guess he was going to fall off the car and be caught. I guess he was caught the wrong way, or he hurt himself. He hurt his back, put on painkillers, and wouldn't you know it, got a little addiction problem.
Yeah.
But how awful is that? So not only does he not get the lead song, like he created for the musical.
So, yeah.
And by the way, I watched some of the commentary, and the director often went to Jeff Conaway to say, hey, is this feeling right? Is this feeling like the Broadway, the musical? And Jeff Conaway really advised a lot throughout the movie on this, and that's what happened.
So one could argue that small change was...
fucked his whole life up.
His entire downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grease Lightning.
Because it caused him... Because he wouldn't have been in the position where he was, where he would have fallen. Right. He wouldn't have been addicted to painkillers.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have died from a drug addiction.
Yeah.
So sad. So sad. But he was pretty successul in Taxi.
He was successful, and he had a great marriage to Olivia Newton-John's sister.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Yeah.
That's that for that. It makes me sad because I did love him too. I almost feel like I loved the whole like Rizzo and Kanicki even better than like Sandy and Danny.
I love when they get into that fight and Riz throws the shake and she's like, "Sorry, French," because like some of the shake got on her.
It's all over her. Oh my god. Oh my god. So let me see. I'm going to look at my notes for the first time.
Really quick. Look at your notes. I have another something else.
Okay, go ahead.
So in the commentary, you find out that scene, after she throws the shake, they run out of the diner together. There's apparently a big fight scene on the sidewalk between them.
Oh.
And they cut it because it was too well acted. They said, this is a Scorsese scene in a Broadway musical.
Wow.
It brings the whole movie down.
Oh my god, I want to see it.
So here's the thing. Rock and Rydell version, they have like 6 cut scenes. That's not one of them.
Shut up.
They said the acting was so good and dramatic that it changed the feeling of the movie, and they cut it.
Oh,
they said it was way too real.
God.
And they said the acting was that good between Stockard and Jeff.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And you know that hickey on her neck is real. It's from him.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He said,
that's awesome.
He said, I think it would be good for our characters if the hickey's real. And she did.
Hot.
And how old is he? So he was 26 and she was 33.
26 and 33. Hey, you know what? I was like 30 I'd be like, yeah, give me a nothing wrong with that. What else? Oh, so I wrote down that there was a woman principal. I feel like that was kind of...
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't connect that, but I loved her, Eve Arden.
I love Eve Arden.
Facial expressions.
And Dodie...
Goodman?
Goodman. Yeah. She was great as, like, the assistant. Oh, no, yeah.
Did I say that wrong? Was it...
Dodie Goodman.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she's the assistant. She's like...
Yeah.
Just such a dope... And she reminded me of the assistant in Ferris Bueller.
Yes.
Right? So she's just fun and happy all the time. And even the principal, I laughed because she's like... she goes, "Oh, do you have whatever?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have it right here." She goes, "Oh," the principal's like, "Oh, good, they'll be nice and smudged."
Anything you enjoyed more with that? Because that's, to be honest, that's one of the things I enjoyed more.
That relationship,
the principal, just the character of her.
I think I did appreciate it more. I think I appreciated some of the back characters more. You know what I appreciated a little bit more was the Frankie Avalon, which I didn't love. That was when, like, I really didn't like it back then. It was like, this is a snooze.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked it this time around. And the other, and this is kind of telling, the Hopelessly Devoted to You, I did not love. That was like my least favorite song when I was growing up. And this time around, I was like, this is beautiful. And I think it was because the scene was so slow.
Yeah.
It was like, it's just her walking and singing. And as an adult, I think I appreciate it, but as a child, I didn't. I was like, whatever, can we fast forward?
I appreciated it both times around, but as you know, as a child, I was obsessed with Olivia Newton-John.
Yes. So
and I loved it. It's like, she was the only one in the scene.
Over.
When you know why that scene feels so different, it was done after the movie was done.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because they said, this is a musical, and we don't have that Oscar nominee factor for all that music we're doing. We won't get any Oscar recognition because we don't have an original song. So they went back. So there was a song called Raining on Prom Night, but it wouldn't have made sense for her to sing that. That was from the musical.
Yeah.
So they got rid of that song, and they put this one, and they said, let's just have it be her. So they only brought Olivia back. And I think her hair looks even a little shorter in that scene than the scene before. A little different.
Yeah, she does look a little different.
And they just
but I would never have thought it was a different day. But
yeah, but they brought it in as like the movie was over, when the movie was done. So then they added it into the.
But yeah, I never liked it growing up. Yeah. And even I had the album, and I always skipped over that song. Like, I just never liked the song, but I really, really liked it this time around.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, why did I not like that song?
And Beauty School Dropout, to your other point, that I agree. I feel like in that part of the movie, I remember as a kid being super bored by it. Isn't that
totally
weird? Because you don't think anything happens, but now as an adult,
and you're looking at the background, and the lyrics are funny.
Christina, I was 48 years old 2 days ago when I realized that the people in the curlers are the actresses in the movie.
Yeah, I did notice that on my viewing. It's not the first one.
I think I only noticed Stalker. And I was like, oh, that's funny, they threw her in there. But then I'm like, oh, wait.
And then you have the angels flying
by.
That's
Patty Simcox. Yes. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
But when that set up that song, she says, I wish I had a guardian angel to tell me what to do. And I'm like, and I knew that song was coming. I'm like, well, he doesn't tell you what to do. He just calls you a beauty school. I'm like, he does tell her what to do. Go back to high school.
Yeah.
That's
hang up your pinky
shears and now it's like, and now I love that scene. Yeah. I think it's great. And he just sounds amazing. I mean, what an amazing voice, on Frankie Valli. And
he was so dreamy back.
Yeah,
I remember
still
my mother. He's still alive. My mother always had a big crush on him, and Johnny Mathis, and I think I inherited that. I always thought he was dreamy, but even with him knowing, even thinking that he was dreamy, I still was completely bored with the scene.
Yeah, I remember being bored by that. When he says, "Get off the pot," he's like, "Give this a shot. Get off the pot." It's worth everyone when you revisit this. Watch Stalker Channing's face when he says "get off the pot." It is. She has this really quick little "excuse me," and I'm like, I wonder if they just said, "Do whatever you want, Stalker." I mean, her facial expressions are quite different than everyone else in that staircase. She is so damn good.
She is so good. So, can we talk about all the sex references?
Go for it.
Oh my gosh. There was so many references I can't even they're saying one of the first references was Danny's talking about the girl that he met at the beach, and Kanicki's like, were her jugs bigger than Annette's? Things like that happened constantly throughout this movie. During the dancing scene, they're on TV, and the whatchamacallits, the T-Birds, come back behind
and
lifts up her dress
to show her underwear. Yeah.
There was this constant sexual stuff. Almost I was uncomfortable watching it with Emily for some of the things.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm like, what the hell happened to this sweet little musical?
Yeah. Well, also, I didn't really and I didn't like it then. I didn't like it now, and I heard that Dinah Manoff. Is that just her name? Yeah.
Dinah, yeah.
And that she, from Empty Nest and Ordinary People and all that. And she, but I heard that she couldn't, I guess, dance very well. So in that gym scene, which we'll get to that, because that's in my negative pile as an adult. Yeah. That is, I was bored. That went on, that sequence of that gym dance is so long.
It's so
and it goes
long.
nowhere. I mean, like, you could have cut off all.
It doesn't matter any of that stuff.
No,
None
it doesn't matter.
matters.
Except that Sandy got mad because he was dancing with.
But who cares? You
Chi-Chi.
could have done it any other way, like any other way.
Well, just have it be the first dance. Never be pissed off that it happened so fast. I mean, but I'm just really kind of a waste. But in my opinion, I like the hand jive.
The hand jive is the only fun part.
All the maraschino, the cherry, it's like that's really inappropriate. This is wrong. And I didn't care for any of that. That left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, him being slimy on this teenager. Yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way this time around.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I mean, she's what? 17 at best.
Yeah.
And he's obviously this older person. It was fun seeing Sha Na Na again, because I hadn't seen them in a long time. And, that was just fun, but for like a split second. But I agree that I don't remember, which is funny because I don't remember being bored by that part when I was a kid.
Me neither. I loved it.
It was so long.
It's so funny. I was really surprised how bored I was by it. And I almost went back to time how long that...
I would like to see how long that...
I would gather it's 15 to 18 minutes.
It's gotta be.
It's probably 8.
It's
like, I don't know, but it's like, it feels so
But it
long.
doesn't switch... You know what it is, too? It doesn't really switch back to different scenes, does it? Like, it doesn't... It's not like you're... Like, in a lot of times in these movies, like, it has, like, a long, like, dance, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You'll have another scene, like, at somebody's house or outside or something. I don't think there was any breaks
there.
aside from the
diner. And she says, oh, look, there's Sandy and Danny.
Like one split second.
Who is John Travolta's sister, is that actress.
Yes, Ellen Travolta,
But it's so funny, we thought the same thing on that dance scene.
Oh, I thought it was horrible.
It kept going. I'm like, wait, why? Like, it's not propelling. Everything is established the second everyone walks in. You see Rizzo with the guy with the, they call him Crater Face. You see, Jeff, what's his name? Kinnicky get jealous. Then you see Sandy get jealous because, then you realize that Chi-Chi knows Danny. It's like, but that's established in seconds.
It is established in seconds.
Need.
But I do remember being pissed that he continued, like, not that he continued to dance with Chi-Chi. But I was pissed that someone one of the T-Birds had taken Sandy off of the dance floor.
Yeah.
Like, that pissed me off. I'm like, what the hell?
Kristen, I had that same thought when I watched it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, why did he do that, though? And then they show him just drinking from the flask and then pouring the flask into the punch bowl. So the idea, I guess, is he was just trash and he wasn't thinking, but it still didn't make sense.
It didn't make any sense.
It would have been so much better if Chi-Chi just pushed her. Because then
she got lost in the crowd, sort of, and couldn't get back in.
Because imagine if she had pushed her, Sandy would have realized, like, I guess I do have to toughen up, and maybe it would have made her transition.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
Definitely. Right? So a couple of those things could have worked better. With a couple of those instances where she had to have some sort of realization, because at the end, you don't really understand why. Like, so throughout the movie, should we talk negatives?
We did. We talked about the dance, and that's my big negative,
One of the negatives that I had, and I think it was more glaring now, is it's like, why did she forgive him? And, like, why did he all of a sudden have no problem dating her? Like, I felt like there was that scene in the diner where he, like, kind of sees her with the other guy, right? The football player guy. And she goes over to the jukebox to pick a song or whatever, and then he kind of saunters around. But he's still trying to hide from his friends. Like, he still doesn't want his friends to know that he wants to date her. And he, like, has this conversation with her. And I don't understand why. Like, what was he thinking he was going to do? Like, he was going to just date her on the side? Or was he ready to tell his friends that he wanted to date her?
Well, that diner, my take was he just wanted to truly just talk. I think he wanted to. I think he didn't want to be. I don't think it was about her. It was about him.
Yeah.
I think he didn't want to be Danny Zuko. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to be Danny Zuko in that moment. I think he wanted to be the guy on the beach. And I think, like, I also misunderstood some dialogue, like, way back when. I thought at one point he said, maybe he drowned, baby. Like, or something like that. But he never said it. I was like, did I imagine that he said maybe he drowned? But, because she says, what happened to Danny I met on the beach? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe there's, two of us, whatever. But, I think in that diner scene, he just wanted to be himself, who he was with her. Yeah. But then he walks in and he sees everyone and their mother there. And he's like, well, I can't be who I am with her. Because I have to be Danny Zuko.
Oh, are we talking about the same diner scene? I'm not talking about this diner scene where they go on a date. I'm not talking about that.
Oh, you're talking when she's with Lorenzo Lamas.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was talking about that scene when he's, like, was with his friends, and then he sees her with somebody, gets jealous.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to talk to her, but I couldn't understand, like all of a sudden, like, they end up... Oh, because she's like, well, he's on the football team, or at least he's doing something with, like, or whatever. And that prompts him to become a jock.
Which is to me, one of the funniest things in this movie. And I didn't appreciate it then. I didn't get it. Yeah.
Because I thought it was really funny how he, like, wanted to fight everybody. He was always, like... Just like such a dope. Like he just looks like such. He was not looking cool at all. Like he looked silly. Yeah. I loved that. And I liked it again this time around.
And also how he swaggered and stuff. Christine, to your earlier point, I think it's just because he was jealous. That's all. I think you're right. Yeah, he was just like jealous of like that she could. I think he was like, oh shit, she can find a guy like that. Like. And he can find a girl like that, but I don't think he thought that...
It just seemed like something was missing. Something. I just felt like there was a big leap.
I think he started realizing, and they could have done a better job with this, that he needed to grow up, and that his friends were sort of all stuck being juvenile, and I don't know.
But then at the end, he shows up with like the Letterman sweater.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like he's trying, and then she really tries.
But and I had a problem, honestly, as a mom.
Yeah.
Right. I had a problem with that this time around. It was more glaring, I think, this time around, where I'm like, so what's the moral of the story?
Change.
We're changing for the guy, or we're changing for the girl. Like, I felt like his change is a little bit more subtle. Like, it was a little more gradual, I think, with him trying to become a sports person and all that, and trying to actually impress her and things like that. With her... It was like, now you're smoking? Like, okay, so you're going to not only turn into, like, from a decent human being, now you're going to turn into this, like, smoking, slutty, like, and honestly, I didn't think she was that attractive when she was all dolled up with all the makeup and stuff either, the big hair. I'm like, that's too much. Yeah. And she looked so thin. Did you notice how tiny she was? She was, like, as big as my finger. It was, like, so little in those skin-tight pants.
I mean, it's to sew her into those. That's true.
I'm not surprised.
There's a reunion special, and she says that they just sew her into them and rip them off of her.
My gosh. I'm not surprised at all. Like, they were really bad. But I just didn't like that whole message.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh, no. It's a terrible message.
Yeah, like the whole message is terrible.
But one thing, though, is that when she does have the cigarette, and she looks at Frenchie, what should she do? Because she's like, she doesn't really know what she's doing.
Yeah,
she's just saying, like...
She's in a costume.
Exactly. So she's just kind of like, I guess it means, like, she's willing to maybe lighten up a little bit, or, like, but then I think he's also growing up, too. I think her whole thing was just she was being so sensitive, or she was being sensitive with everything, to the point where, if she really likes this guy, like, it isn't...
I disagree. I respectfully disagree.
I'm not saying it's right.
I respectfully disagree.
Disagree with what? The movie, not me. I'm simply...
You. With... You.
I am not saying anyone should change for anyone. I am saying, like, if you have to change...
But you're saying that she's thinking that she should lighten up a little bit, but he's the one that kept doing all these shitty things to her. He's the one that rejected her from the beginning and made her look like an asshole and was, like, mean to her.
Yeah.
Then he basically ditches her on the dance floor, right? Then he tries to make up with her, right? And he basically molests her in the drive-in.
Yeah.
Like, why should she even, forgive this?
We know all of this. So then, what then, Christina?
Why is she changing for him?
She is hopelessly devoted to him.
Did you see the movie? No, it's bad. It's bad. It's like an abusive relationship.
Christina, hopelessly
no matter how bad
devoted.
you treat me, I want to be with you. and I'm going to change in order for you to like me. So now what? She's going to go to the drive-in and he's going to like make a move and she's going to be like, okay. Just to be with him? Bad.
No! Because she, even in that, You're the One That I Want song, she keeps walking away from him, meaning...
She's a tease, that's why. She's a D-tease.
Wow.
Right then and there. I'm saying after everything is said and done, because she was mad, she broke up with him because he was trying to grab her boob. And now she's dressing like a slut, so what does that mean? That she's going to do it with him now?
No. You better shape up, because she needs a man. It's like, she's saying, look it. I think what she's saying is, like, I can be all of these things, but you have to deserve it. Like, and you're, like, and he has some growing up to do.
He did
like,
have a lot of growing up.
So it's like, meaning, like, I know. So it's like, if I'm Sandy, I'm watching Danny, who we had this really lovely summer with. I'm hopelessly devoted to him. But I see that every time a girl wears something remotely tight, his eyes wander. But it's like, so it's like, you know what? I can do that too, but guess what? It's not really me. And so you better shape up.
Interesting. All right, I will accept your explanation for that. I will accept
hopelessly devoted.
I still don't think it's a good message.
It is not a good message. Boys and girls, Grease, you should not watch Grease for any moral,
no life
lessons. Please don't.
And
the sex thing, oh, my condom broke. Oh, what the hell?
Let's do it again. Let's do it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell?
But it was kind of funny. And I remember not understanding... Like, I remember when I first saw it, I didn't understand what broke.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
And then they just had to make it out. And then, like, it's funny. Like, I feel like I should have known something, but I obviously didn't know all of it. But it was just like, I don't know, it was funny. But what I will say, one of the best lines... that I remembered then and I loved it again now. It's so like subtle and you can miss it. Was when oh God, who was it? Somebody was asking Rizzo like, "What's going on? What's wrong? Why are you upset?" She's like, "I feel like a defective typewriter." She's like, "What?" I skipped a period.
I also think it's a brilliant scene where she tells.
Yes.
She's like, no, I won't tell anyone. And then by the time she even gets back to the car, everyone in the drive-in knows.
Oh my God, so good! I know that was great. That was flawless. I like how they did that.
Really quick, going back to Olivia, I wrote, I love when she screams from the earring.
Oh God,
and I love when she screams when Danny's trying to take his ring off and he like elbows her.
She goes right in the chest.
God. She's very invested. Like she's very like in the moment, and Danny is too. They have a lot of great chemistry for start. We haven't talked about that, but like they also have like really great facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some of them are a little like I think maybe overdone, but I think it's like it ties into that musical vibe.
Yes.
You mentioned things in the negative. So the dance is in the negative for me. The other thing that was in the negative is the unveiling of Greased Lightning. It just rolls out of the garage. Yes. But it's not like any other movie would have been like dun dun
right.
dun dun, and it just rolls out.
It just rolls out.
No big deal. No one even says. Only one character says that the car is hotter than the parts that we found for whatever, something like that, like stolen parts. But honestly, I thought that could have been a bigger moment.
Yeah, it was weird that it wasn't a big moment. Although I suppose Greased Lightning was the big moment. I mean, I guess that might have been more of like maybe they felt like, well, we already revealed.
They didn't. That was a different car.
But I mean, it was a different car, and I remember as a kid being completely confused. Completely confused.
But
what the hell? I thought it was red.
But here's that.
Yeah.
It's the car they drive away in at the end.
Yes, it is.
The dream car.
Yeah. It's
so strange.
It is so strange. Yeah. And we'll talk about the ending after the break, but do you...
Oh, we should take a break.
We should take a break, but I will say I agreed with you that there should have been some sort of a reveal for the car, but I also feel like maybe they thought they should, but then after Greased Lightning, they didn't know if it would be like too much.
Yeah.
Too much focus on the car.
Perhaps.
But yeah, so let's take a break.
Little break.
And we'll be right back to kind of wrap it up and have some final thoughts and some questions. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back talking about Grease. Christina, any final thoughts?
Well, we didn't really talk too much about the music. I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but there's some songs like Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee.
Yeah.
Was so fun for me. It's like I'm singing it right now. And that's another, it's so funny. I was always, I guess I'm a huge Rizzo fan because that's another song that I used to love to sing. Were there any other songs that we haven't really talked too much about, I guess? Summer Nights was fun.
Yeah, Summer Nights. All the dance songs like Born to Hand Jive.
Sandy. The song Sandy, which wasn't in the play. It was written in. It was These Magic Moments.
Oh, okay.
It was, and it wasn't Danny who sang it either. It was, I think it was Dodie. It was, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. I have to give a shout out to my husband, Matt. He was in this play, and he was, oh my God. I thought he said he was Dodie. Oh, Putsy?
Putsy.
He had that song, These Magic Changes. His character had that song. But what's funny, I think he said he was Dodie because he thought he was the blonde when we were watching the movie. He didn't really watch the whole movie with us, but he's like, the blonde, he was telling Emily, like, the blonde guy, that was me. But he had a different name in it. So I think he was Dodie, but he was
Well, they call him Putsy, for sure. They call him Putsy as like a little insult.
But they're two different characters. Okay. Yeah, there's two different characters. But anyway, he's saying These Magic Changes. So that was not in the movie. Sandy was in the movie. Mm-hmm. And I remember, even though, like, it's funny, like, some of these other songs I was really bored with, this was one of those songs that I really loved for some reason. Could have to do with the fact that my dog's name was Sandy.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I kind of remember singing that when she died and being sad.
Yeah.
So maybe that's...
Yeah, Sandy didn't... I remember I used to love Sandy younger. This time around I was like, it's a fine song. Like,
yeah. Same. Yeah. Like, I really felt like it was fine when I was younger. But watching, like, the drive-in, like, I remember the highlight of that song was watching the drive-in with, like, the hot dog and the hot dog roll, like the cartoon.
Yes.
While he's singing it on the swing set and stuff. But
that was one of the fights that John Travolta lost. John Travolta wanted the ending of that song, Sandy song, to be a big close-up on his face, and the director's like, no, I think it's hilarious if we end with the hot dog jumping on the hot dog bun. He's like, it's too hilarious. You have to end that way. Because the song's sad. So you don't want to end a sad song on a sad face. Like, it's like, we've had enough of that in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we have a hot dog landing in a bun that's perfect.
Yeah.
So they did that.
Something else I wanted to just touch on. Do we want to talk about the budget that this school has for... events?
The carnival?
Well, that's like
the circus.
The circus.
Yeah.
They had this huge bonfire at the beginning of the school year for the pep rally. Huge bonfires everywhere.
Yeah.
And every single person in school probably went to that thing. It was huge. Then they had the dance, the American Bandstand dance.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Although someone yells, "Thanks for the toilet paper."
Poor Patty. Poor Patty.
In Eugene.
In Eugene. They had that huge, they had the huge thing everywhere. Yeah, all this stuff. And, the band coming and everything. And then, and then the carnival.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And I was watching it and I'm like, is it just that they're at a carnival?
It's not the school.
But it is. Yeah. It was actually
because throw a pie in the teacher's face.
Because it's all school-related things. Everybody there. I mean, oh my gosh, crazy, crazy, crazy budget for school. I just wanted to point that out. And I was actually said to Emily, I'm like, this is how they used to have end-of-year picnics. Instead of an end-of-year picnic, they used to have carnivals at the school. And she's like, really? I'm like, no. And then the very end, what'd you think about the car flying away?
I know. I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now.
Yeah, so there's like theories about it, and I didn't like it or understand it back then or now. There's theories that Sandy actually like died on the beach. Like when he's singing, I saved her life, she nearly drowned. Yeah. But she actually drowned. And like this was all like a big fantasy. Like the whole movie was like this big
was Sandy's fantasy?
I think it was supposed to be his fantasy or something. And at the end they reunite and then like they're going up into heaven. That's like some sort of weird fan theory or something. But it didn't make any sense that they were like...
Well, I wonder, if in that regard, I would wonder if it was Sandy's dream after she dies.
Could have been Sandy's dream.
Because she's like, oh, I'll come back as this angel and go to high school. Then it turns out that he doesn't even like her.
That makes no sense. And maybe that's it. Maybe
it's strange. Yeah, I didn't understand it. It was just a fantasy, but
like you pointed out, it's the Grease Lightning car, which is a fantasy.
I know. Interesting. Is that like they lived happily ever after, which is in itself a fantasy? Mm-hmm. Who knows? If you have any thoughts on this, shoot us an email, oldroommatespod@gmail.com. Really quick budget. Speaking of budgets, you mentioned the school. The film budget was $6 million.
Wow.
It made $396 million worldwide.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Huge hit.
Crazy.
I think Stockard Channing won People's Choice Award for Best Supporting Actress in a motion
I didn't look
picture.
at any of these awards.
Did you know it's the same director as Boy in the Plastic Bubble?
Oh, no, I did not.
And John Travolta said... So John Travolta apparently had a lot of power at 23 years old. Because he said, if we do Grease, he's like, I want him as the director. And he's like, he's made a TV movie. Like, he doesn't know how to... Whatever. And then Jeff Conaway was like... We'll take Jeff from the musical, and then between the three of us, we'll essentially get it done.
Wow! Imagine the power this guy had.
23
years old. So he was younger than that when he made these demands. He was like 22 or 21, right?
Yeah, but he had that much star power.
And he didn't come from a family of actors or directors, right?
I don't know where he came from.
I mean, you never hear about his father was a director or anything like that. Like, he just kind of showed up as a sweat hog and broke through. And then he had that horrible, horrible song. Do you remember that song?
Oh, is it the word "her" in it? Or
Let Her In.
Let Her In. Yeah,
Let Her In.
Yeah, Let Her In.
It is so bad, Brian. I loved it.
Oh, okay.
When I was a child. I listened to 99.1, which is like all 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever. And it's a great station if anybody listens to it in the Boston area. But it was like probably 4 or 5 months ago, and they have this all request hour, and somebody called in to request "Let Her In" by John Travolta. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this song, right? And the DJ was like, look, I like to take requests from everybody, but this song is terrible. He's like, this is the one time this year that I will play this song. And he played it, and I can't even tell you how terrible the song is. If anybody is listening, please Google it or YouTube or whatever. Let Her In by John Travolta. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, just, yeah. Are you looking it up right now?
I am, but it's not coming up.
Try YouTube.
Let me see.
Let me see if I can find it too. But anyway, do you have any other final thoughts before we get to our questions?
I do. Let's see. One moment, please. The only other thing I have... is I like when he says... You look like a beautiful blonde pineapple. I love that line. I love that line so much.
It's so good. Okay.
And I loved Didi Khan's character. I will say that one thing I really didn't like, and it's just it's like 2 lines of dialogue, and I'm like, I don't understand.
Here's an online
sorry.
It's more than an online practice.
Hold on, it's an ad.
Does Pudsey say to Jan, I think you're a really special person, and I think there's more to you than just fat.
Yes!
What the hell's that about? She's not fat. I do like the brush. And Carl loves that scene too. And she's like, brush it, brush it, brush it.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's good. That whole, like, sleepover scene is really good.
Yeah.
I like that whole scene.
Did you find it?
I did, right?
Oh my god.
She said, has stuck in my head and I can't get away. Gonna let her in. Gonna let her in. Gonna let her in my life.
That's Quentin. There's John Travolta. Let her in.
Oh my gosh, so funny, so funny, so
Oh
funny.
my gosh. Time for questions?
Time for
Do you have
questions. I
have an FMK, and it's dramatic.
Really?
I'm changing the rules a little bit.
Good, do the FMK.
Alright, one moment, please. I'm just writing down what I think. Okay, Christina.
Yes.
This is tough. The T-Birds.
Oh,
All of them. It's FMK. You can F one, marry one, and all others will die.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So I suppose
it's all the T-Birds. So it's
Danny. Oh, Danny is involved.
Danny's in there.
Yeah. Oh, good. I thought you were going to just do like Dodie, Sonny, and Putsy.
No, it's yeah. So, God, what is?
It's the characters, not the actors.
Kinnicky. Yeah. So it's Danny. It's Kinnicky. It's the characters. Kinnicky, and then the rest, like Putsy and whatever, and all that. The other three.
So let's see. I think I would marry Kinnicky.
Mm-hmm.
I would F Danny.
Yay!
And just kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill the rest.
Yeah. I think I would. Oh God. I think I would F Putsy, the blonde. I think he was super cute, and then marry. I think I would marry Danny, even though I know he's like a bit of a womanizer.
Yeah.
And then kill the rest. Because Kinnicky, he seems like he's still just a little too rough around the edges.
Well, I think that what I'm going to tell
with.
you right now is probably going to change your mind.
Oh!
So think about that, though. Kinnicky was really the only, aside from the broken condom situation, was really the only responsible one. He was really taking responsibility. He got a job. He got a car. He was more of like someone that was kind of like, I could see him having a future. He seemed more entrepreneurial than the others. Whereas everybody else was sort of just playing around and like...
That's true.
Danny, he didn't give a shit about anybody but himself.
Yeah.
So I feel like Kinnicky was at least trying to like do something with his life.
True.
Okay. All right, so I have to think of a question on the spot. I'm thinking... All right, if you're going to Rydell High, you go to Rydell High.
Yeah.
And you need to choose one of the pink ladies as a mentor or whatever.
Yeah.
Which one would you choose as like your person to like she's your mentor?
Rizzo. Because did you already write it down?
No. Oh. I was going to write something down, but
because here's why. Frenchie is very sweet, but I know my style, and I know the style which I like to be told things or learn things, and Rizzo isn't going to beat around the bush.
Yeah.
Rizzo's going to also, I believe Rizzo will be like, don't waste your time. Like she, in a way, Rizzo's hard edge probably keeps a lot of like fluff out.
Yeah.
And she'll know. She'll say, here's the teachers to take. Here's here's the actual cool person. Here's the annoying one that you need to avoid. Here's this and that. I mean, you're still smart enough to make your own decisions, but you'd be getting like a very time-saving approach to school versus Frenchie's like, whatever oh, Sandy, blah, 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 blah. Like, she's a little too... I almost feel like Sandy led that friendship more than Frenchie, in a way. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because I feel like Frenchie was too eager to please, and I don't know if I would have learned much.
I would agree with that. I would agree
in a way,
with that.
Yeah.
After your explanation, I was actually thinking you might choose Marty.
That's her name, Marty.
I just looked it up.
Okay.
I was almost thinking you would choose Marty because she kind of she kind of tells it like it is without any other hidden agenda.
That's
I feel
true.
like Rizzo is more about like
herself.
Well, she's more about the drama too.
Okay.
She'd be kind of like, oh yeah, Brian, he's a great teacher. But, like, maybe, she would do things for laughs.
Yeah, and the first, fuck over of Sandy at the drive, like, when, not the drive, the bonfire, when she just pushes Sandy into Danny.
Yeah, she was a little bit too insecure.
Christine, I take my answer back.
Really?
Yeah.
I changed your answer?
You did. I think Marty is a good call, because she's, like, I like how she sprayed the perfume in the paper.
Yeah, she
seemed more welcoming and, like, but, like, level-headed in a way.
I mean, and I think... Like, at first glance, you don't think that way about her.
Yeah.
But, like, when you think about the things that she did, like, with the boyfriends and sharing her boyfriend, right? Yeah. And being, like... She had a good amount of confidence that I didn't feel like she would try to screw anybody over, because she didn't need to.
True, right.
So, no. That's the first time I've ever influenced your answer.
Well, I think that happened one other time. But,
interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that's it for Grease.
Yeah. And that is it for us, and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show, or a suggestion, or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.